it doesn't mean that Dr. Harshvardhan was incompetent. Not at all. In BJP, role keeps changing. It doesn't mean that it signifies the failure of a person. I can describe it like it will be a Chaat-Pakodi mall where all kinds of Chaat-Pakodi will be there. If somebody comes and try to invade the dal roti of my traders, I will be the last one to accept it. We have seen China. China is always trying to destabilize India. Why not we encourage people of India not to use Chinese goods? We were agitating against Amazon because of unhealthy practices of Amazon, which we have highlighted a lot, and with, of course, with substantial evidence. They have to comply with that policy, and they are not complying to it. Authority का मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं dictator हो गया. Of course, there are issues with GST, but then combining several taxes with one tax was not an easy job. See, that was the most dark period of my life. I have seen the worst days of my life during emergency.
Hello and welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview, and our special segment, Coffee on Sunday. Walk the streets of Chandni Chowk and most people are familiar with Praveen Khandelwal, if not by face, then certainly by name. He was recently elected an MP from this constituency. Among the many promises he has made, the one that touched a chord is the project to make all dangling wires go underground. To the women in his constituency, he promised to create a Chaat museum and go international with it. He also campaigned against the growth of Amazon and Flipkart in India. But then, fighting is in his blood. The scars of the emergency which jailed his father remain unhealed. Let us meet the son-turned-trader-turned-politician Praveen Khandelwal in this edition of The Interview in our special segment, Coffee on Sunday. Welcome to the show, Mr. Praveen Khandelwal, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Let me begin with one of your promises which touched a chord. I will make all dangling wires in my constituency go underground. Tell me about this.
Well, this is a very typical situation, particularly of my constituency, where I have more than 150 wholesale trade hubs of different commodities. So these hanging wires are creating a big havoc. Every year we see so many casualties. During my election campaign, I assured the people that once elected, I will tackle this problem and I'll do my best to get all these cables hanging underground. So in pursuance of that, soon after my election, I convened a meeting of the trade associations, and in that meeting, it was unanimously resolved by all the constituents that this situation now should be solved as early as possible. And certainly because it's a large area, so it will be done in phases.
But tell me, this problem has been there and it's all over Delhi, but in your constituency particularly for a long time. You had Mr. Harshvardhan as a member of parliament and you had the BJP government in the centre. Why did you have to wait till you are an MP to take this up?
Well, let me just put it out this way, that the electricity is a state subject. It's not the subject of central government. Obviously, it was apparent for the state government to tackle this situation or to look into it. I have born and brought up in Old Delhi. So since my childhood days, I am seeing this problem. I don't know what were the circumstances, why somebody did not have a look on this. But I personally feel that this problem should be solved, and therefore I took it a challenge, and I will try to solve it as early as possible.
But my question remains the same. Why didn't you take it up with Mr. Harshvardhan? It was a state subject even then. It was the AAP government in the state, so that hasn't changed.
See, it depends upon the priorities. There were many other most important subjects, and it depends from person to person. So it doesn't mean that Dr. Harshvardhan was incompetent, not at all. But as I perceive certain things, I set my own priorities. Likewise, other member of parliaments are setting their own priorities. If I am able to do something on this account in remaining part of Delhi, also it will be carried.
You know, you also said that in the past 10 years, nothing has been done in your constituency. Many saw this as a reflection and an adverse remark on Mr. Harshvardhan's work.
Not at all. Why I am saying so? Central government has a very limited role because most of the subjects are related to state government. As far as the performance of Dr. Harshvardhan is concerned, I can vouch for it that central government has made enormous spending in Delhi in last 10 years, including my constituency. Several community centers, beautification of parks, new roads, certain work on highways, railway augmentation. These are some of the subjects on which Dr. Harshvardhan has done quite well.
Where did he falter?
No, as such, there is no fault. See, in BJP, role keeps changing. Earlier, Dr. Harshvardhan. Before Harshvardhan, there was someone else. Today, I am here. Tomorrow, some other person will be here. It doesn't mean that it signifies the failure of a person. Not at all.
You know, you said that electricity is a state subject, which it remains. The government is a non-BJP government in Delhi. So, in that sense, not much has changed. And the electricity issue or the dangling wires issue still remains. How will you now take it forward? And what gives you that heft that you will be able to do what previously the MP could not or the state government resisted?
The first point is priority. So, I have set certain things on my priority. Dr. Harshvardhan might have kept certain other things on his priority. Whatever his priority was may not be priority for me.
But how will you tackle the state government?
Yes, that's a pertinent question. First of all, let me get the plan. Then I'll ask Delhi government to cooperate with me. If they will not cooperate, I'll go to LG. If even then, and then I'll go to central government. Somehow or the other, I will try to bring this situation as I want, as people want.
On a lighter note, you promised or told the women of your constituency that you will do what is called a Chaat museum and take it up internationally.
That's a very interesting question. See, when I was campaigning, I was told by various women organizations of my area that they want some kind of stalls of Chaat-Pakodi in their respective area, which is not a big thing. But from that point, it stuck to my mind. Yes, the Chaat-Pakodi of my constituency is having an international fame whenever we go in other countries. So therefore, I promised to myself that I will try to create a Chaat-Pakodi museum in my constituency. I have asked some people to work on it. They are working on it, and some kind of idea will be given to me by the Chaat experts. But this is sure that I am going to create a chaat museum, but don't ask me today what could be the counters of the museum. तो मैं अपने चाट पकौड़ी के म्यूजियम के ज़रिए, मेरी कोशिश है, मुझे नहीं पता मैं कहाँ तक सफल होऊंगा, मेरी कोशिश है चाट पकौड़ी के कारोबार को बढ़ाने की। जो लोग इसमें काम कर रहे हैं, पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी करता है, वो अनाम है, कोई जानता नहीं है उनको। हम लोग चटकारे लेकर के खाते हैं, बट हमें नहीं पता कौन उसको बना रहा है। मैं उन लोगों को, उन कारीगरों को मैं रोशनी में लाना चाहता हूँ। मैं लोगों को बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये लोग पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी एक खास तरीके का खाना लोगों को खिलाते हैं, जिसको लोग बड़े स्वाद से खाते हैं। तो ऐसे लोगों को मैं लाइमलाइट में लाना चाहता हूँ।
I won't ask you about the counters, but I'm definitely going to ask you to redefine or define or explain for us what is a Chaat-Pakodi museum. What is the idea that you have in mind?
See, I can describe it like it will be a chaat pakodi mall where all kinds of chaat pakodi will be there.
But tell me why Chaat-Pakodi? Because Purani Delhi ka khana is very, very famous, which also includes a lot of food prepared by the Muslim vendors or, in Jama Masjid area. So why only Chaat-Pakodi and why not the Jama Masjid ka khana and Purani Delhi ka traditional khana?
बेड़ में आलू, नगौरी हलवा, कचालू, मेथी की चटनी, these are some of very distinctive eateries. So all these kinds of eateries जो नॉर्मल कोर्स में हम घर में नहीं बनाते, वो सारी ईटरीज चाट म्यूजियम का एक हिस्सा होंगी।
और उसमें जो जमा मस्जिद का खाना है, would that be included also, or because it belongs to a particular community which is?
देखिए, खाना किसी कम्युनिटी का नहीं होता, खाना सबका होता है। क्योंकि लेट मी रिमाइंड यू, इट्स ए चाट पकौड़ी म्यूजियम, नॉट मेन कोर्स म्यूजियम। तो चाट पकौड़ी बनाने वाले जो भी लोग हैं, चाट पकौड़ी की 1000 से ज़्यादा किस्में हैं, तो वो सारे के सारे वहाँ पर दिखाई दें। मेरा प्रयास वो है, मैं कोई मेन कोर्स के लिए काम नहीं करने वाला। सो आई एम पर्टिकुलर अबाउट द स्पेशलाइज्ड आइटम्स related to only and only chaat pakodi.
So which means the food of Jama Masjid will not be included.
It should not be related to certain specific area or something like that. अच्छी चीज़ बनाने वाला चाट पकौड़ी वाला, again चाट पकौड़ी, I am reiterating my words, चाट पकौड़ी.
On another point, China go back, Amazon go back, Praveen Khandelwal, the crusader. Tell me about yourself and your campaign.
See, I love my country.
We all do.
I love my countrymen. I love my traders. I love my business community. If somebody comes and try to invade the dal roti of my traders, I will be the last one to accept it. On the other hand, we have seen China so many times invading our borders. China is always trying to destabilize India. Why not we encourage people of India not to use Chinese goods? And in the meantime, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji gave a call for vocal for local and Atmanirbhar Bharat. And we took the call. And the entire business community decided to make awareness among the consumers that Indian goods should be given preference. Situation has been changed. Earlier, the consumers were asking for sasta saman, and whatever the cheap goods, of course that relates to China. Now the situation is completely changed. Now before purchasing material or the goods, the consumer asks, ये चाइना का तो नहीं है? And if it is not China, then certainly they are going to purchase it.
You're absolutely right on that. But on the point of Mr. Modi's clarion call, also let me remind you that along with that, he also has been emphasizing a lot on foreign investment. And that somehow goes against your campaign.
Not really. First of all, we are not against any foreign company. We are not against any foreign investment. Let it be crystal clear. We want foreigners to come to India and invest in our country, but they have to abide by the law of the land. These foreign companies are coming to India with a mandate to capture the market. There should not be capture idea. Let there be healthy competition, but based on healthy practices. So there are many unhealthy practices which these companies are doing.
What then is the justification that during your campaigns, the Amazon CEO during one of his visits to India was compared to Ravan?
See, at that point, we were agitating against Amazon because of unhealthy practices of Amazon, which we have highlighted a lot, and with, of course, with substantial evidence. So during that time, Amazon chief came to India, and we were agitating on those issues. So we thought it the best time to say no Jeff Bezos, no Amazon. So that was the only thing.
Have you changed your opinion now?
Not at all. I never changed my opinion.
So you would still compare him to the demon?
See, will you allow somebody to not to comply with the law? It is the same case for you and me also.
Was it the law, or was it the fact that big businesses like Amazon are really expanding their footprint at the cost of the trader? What was the issue? Was it trader sentiment, or was it the law?
See, they are undertaking predatory pricing, deep discounting, loss funding, owing inventory, which is specifically prohibited under press note number 2 of 2018 of FDI policy. They have to comply with that policy, and they are not complying to it.
So my sense is that you were fighting for them to follow the law rather than the trader's sentiment.
See, if they follow the law, then we traders are competent enough to give any kind of competition, because that's an even level playing field. Because they are adopting unhealthy practices, they are creating an uneven level playing field, and of course, and certainly in an uneven level playing field, our traders can't compete with them because they have deep pockets. They have huge resources.
Let me still ask you that yet businesses like Amazon and Flipkart are flourishing. Doesn't that in one sense indicate that your campaign failed? And so would I be correct to say that you created a buzz with limited results?
How you say they are flourishing? Even after spending 11 years in India, every year they are incurring huge losses. Why? And what is the business mechanism that in spite of earning huge losses every year, you are able to continue your businesses? So that means there is something in between for which we are fighting.
So what is that in between for which you are fighting?
The only thing is one has to comply with the law.
You know, the trading community led by you had said that they would take this up with Prime Minister Modi and ask him or request him or urge him to take a stand against these platforms setting up shop here. How far did that go?
The government of India has prepared rules for e-commerce and policy for e-commerce. Those rules are having a unanimous voice of everybody, including us, including those companies, including consumers and everybody. So I think that will be a game changer for everybody to sell in Indian market, and we all can have our share of business in the whole landscape.
Now that you are a member of parliament, what changes?
See, till yesterday I was an ordinary person. Today I am enjoying certain privileges. So this is the only change. Nothing changed. Praveen Khandelwal was a worker, is a worker, and will remain a Karyakarta for my entire lifetime.
Let me tell you what has changed, and in this I will quote you. पहले मैं रिक्वेस्ट स्लिप लेकर जाता था, अब मैं डिसीजन ले सकता हूँ. फ्रॉम अ रिक्वेस्ट स्लिप टू अ डिसीजन. टेल मी अबाउट दैट ट्रांजिशन. और ये आप ही के शब्द हैं.
मेरे शब्द हैं, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है. ये ज़रूर है कि पहले जब मैं काम करता था तो ओब्वियसली आई वॉज नो बडी, तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट के भाव से काम करता था। मेरा रिक्वेस्ट भाव आज भी है, बट आज उसमें कुछ अथॉरिटी का पुट भी है, जो अथॉरिटी लॉ मुझे देता है। लेकिन अथॉरिटी का मतलब ये नहीं है कि मैं डिक्टेटर हो गया। मेरी रिक्वेस्ट में मेरी अथॉरिटी मिल गई है, फ़र्क इतना सा ही है, इससे ज़्यादा कुछ फ़र्क नहीं है।
You are suspicious of, and I quote you again, foreigners with briefcases. If that is true, just explain this and decode this for me.
मैंने ऐसा तो कभी नहीं कहा कि फॉरेनर्स विद ब्रीफ केसेस, बट यस, मैंने ये ज़रूर कहा कि जो मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज हैं उनकी डीप पॉकेट्स हैं। इंडिया इज़ ए कंज्यूमर सेंट्रिक इकॉनमी। इंडिया इज़ द लार्जेस्ट मार्केट ओवर द ग्लोब। So everybody wants to capture Indian market, which is certainly not advantageous in the larger interest of the country. आप हिंदुस्तान में आए, आप इन्वेस्टमेंट करें, हमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। The moment you try to destabilize the market, the moment you try to play with the sentiments of the consumers, then मेरे देश का जो इंटरेस्ट है वो कहीं ना कहीं प्रभावित होता है। आई विल नॉट बी ए म्यूट स्पेक्टेटर। मैं अपनी आवाज़ उठाई है, मैं आगे भी आवाज़ उठाऊंगा।
At another level, how does the trader politician, if you will allow me to use that word, combination work? Does it work in tandem or does it work at cross purposes at certain times?
In tandem. In tandem because that I am a trader and now I am a full-time politician also. Now I am able to realize what are the problems often the administration faces. So keeping that point into consideration, probably the demands raised by me could have a little change, because when you sit on the other side of the table, you never know what is happening on the other side of the table. But now when you are on both sides of the table,
You are willing to make compromises.
no, not compromises. You know how you can get the work done in a better way. So that's the only thing. Then I have acquired a knowledge how I can get the work done in a faster manner, in tandem with the authorities, with the administration. So that's the whole game.
Okay, let me substitute compromise with political compulsion.
No political compulsion, no compromise. I will never agree to it. What I am saying, when you are on the both side of the table, you gain certain important knowledge which you were not gaining earlier. So based on your extra knowledge, you are able to understand how I can get my work done in a better way. That's the only situation.
But isn't it a tightrope walk? There is trader interest on one side, there is a party line on the other. It may not always conflict, but it could be working sometimes at cross purposes.
I don't think that at least in BJP there will be any conflict with the traders' interests, because we all know Bharatiya Janata Party is a long champion for the traders' cause. So
Something it sacrificed later once it came to power.
No, not at all. If it was the case, I can quote you several instances in the last 10 years. Who brought Mudra Yojana? Who brought Vishwarma Yojana? Who brought Swarnidhi Yojana? Who brought so many other things? Who simplified GST? Of course, there are issues with GST, but then combining several taxes with one tax was not an easy job.
Issues with GST, which your competitor, Mr. J.P. Agarwal, has laughed off and said 1300 or 1400 amendments.
If there are 1400 amendments, what it speaks? So I rather welcome it. At least the government is there to hear you. Otherwise, अगर government अपना stand ले रहे, nothing will be done. Then JP Agarwal will say, देखो government कितनी stubborn है, कुछ सुनती नहीं है, समझती नहीं है. आज गवर्नमेंट सुन रही है, समझ रही है, अमेंडमेंट कर रही है, जरूरत के अनुसार अमेंडमेंट कर रही है, तो जेपी अग्रवाल को प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, इसीलिए लोगों ने उनको रिजेक्ट कर दिया. दैट इज द केस.
बट मिस्टर खंडेलवाल, ये दो एक्सट्रीम्स हैं. वन कि गवर्नमेंट सुनती नहीं है, एंड द अदर 1400 अमेंडमेंट्स. इट्स अ वाइड गैप.
Whenever there is a new law and the 1400 amendments those were made in GST, were on the recommendations of traders like us. We went several times to the government. We went several times to the authorities. We narrated them that this is the problem. So then government listened to us. They brought a mechanism and got the law amended. This is how 1400 amendments have taken place in GST. I welcome it.
So let me rephrase my original question and attempt to ask you yet again. In tricky situations, would you handhold, quote unquote, the traders, or would you toe the party line?
I think this situation will never arise. And I'm sure because traders are basically part of BJP. It is the only BJP which has kept the traders' interest on the upper side. So I don't think anytime such situation will happen.
You know, if that were true, then the Aam Aadmi Party in the state, in Delhi, would not have won twice over.
It doesn't mean that if Aam Aadmi Party is winning, it doesn't mean that the entire trading community is supporting Aam Aadmi Party. Why you forget the freebies? Why you forget the underprivileged people? Those who just in the hope of getting freebies, they are voting Aam Aadmi Party.
Who the BJP neglected?
BJP has never neglected anybody.
From a traditional Lalaji, if you will allow me to use that word, जो नोटों की गड्डी अपने इनर पॉकेट में रखते हैं, to a member of parliament, take me through that transition, the life before and after.
It's quite nostalgic. I have born and brought up in traditional Lala family, in the lanes and by-lanes of old Delhi. मैं वहाँ पर पला बढ़ा हुआ, मैंने एजुकेशन वहीं से की, मैंने लॉ वहीं से की, बिजनेस फैमिली से हूँ. तो कमिंग फ्रॉम दैट सिनेरियो टू दिस लेवल, इट्स क्वाइट चैलेंजिंग. You have to face many challenges within the family, outside the family, within the society, outside the society, within the political system, outside the political system. And a person like me who was working for last 35 years for the trading community. So leading a trading community is not an easy task. And in 1990, when I went to respected Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji for some issue of the trading community, तो ही सेट कि अगर तुम्हें काम करना है तो व्यापारी के क्षेत्र में करो ना. और अटल जी ने कहा तो मेरे दिमाग को वो बात लगी. तो इसमें बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस हम सब लोगों ने फेस किए हैं. बट यस, द Almighty इज ग्रेट. आई एम ए staunch disciple of Lord Hanuman. He is always on my side.
तो वो जो नोटों की गड्डी आप इनर पॉकेट में रखते थे, उसको डेबिट कार्ड से रिप्लेस कर लिया आपने?
See, gone are the days. And it keeps changing as per the circumstances demanded. आज आप घर में काम करने वाले को भी आप डिजिटल पेमेंट करते हैं, आप ड्राइवर को भी डिजिटल पेमेंट करते हैं. Now everybody wants payment in digital mode, and we all must be thankful to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who initiated acceptance and adoption of digital payments in 2015.
अब आपकी जेब में या इनर पॉकेट में नोटों की गड्डी नहीं मिलेगी.
मोबाइल में पैसे होते हैं या कार्ड में पैसे होते हैं. अब कैश में किसी आपके पास भी नहीं होंगे, मेरे पास भी नहीं होते, किसी के पास में नहीं होते.
टॉकिंग अबाउट मिस्टर अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी, जो आपको अपने हाथ से घोट कर कॉफ़ी पिलाते थे, टू मिस्टर अरुण जेटली एंड निर्मला सीतारामन, all of them have inspired you and influenced you in one way or the other. In this scroll of honor, where does Mr. Narendra Modi fit in?
See, let me be very honest. I am deeply inspired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Not today. It goes back to when Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji was appointed General Secretary of the BJP, and I had the fortune to meet him. And at that point of time, I was very inspired of his views. Whatever he is doing today, I think he dreamt that all things almost 20 years back when I had certain discussions with him.
Take me back to Atal Bihari Vajpayee's days. Take me back to Arun Jaitley. Take me back to Nirmala Sitharaman.
अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी से एक बहुत मुझे सौभाग्य है कि मेरा बहुत अच्छा उनके साथ में मुझे उनसे बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला। और अक्सर कभी कभी रात में वो कविताएं सुनाते थे तो बहुत सारी बातें करते थे। अभी आपने कॉफ़ी घोटने वाला जिक्र किया, तो कई बार ऐसा मौका आया कि जब वो उन्होंने अपने हाथ से उस ज़माने में कॉफ़ी घोटते थे। आप दूध डालेंगे, कॉफ़ी डालेंगे, फिर वो चम्मच से उसको मिलाएंगे। तो ऐसा अटल जी इतने सहृदय थे, वो पहले वो खुद घोटते थे, फिर हमको देते थे। तो अटल जी से सीखने को मिला कि आदमी कितना बड़ा हो जाए, उसकी जो सरलता है वो कभी नहीं छूटनी चाहिए। ऐसा मेरे को अटल जी से सीखने का मौका मिला। अरुण जेटली जी ने और सुषमा जी ने, दो लोगों ने ये सिखाया कि अगर आपका लक्ष्य मजबूत है और अगर आप ऑनेस्ट हैं अपने लक्ष्य को लेकर के, तो सूनर और लेटर आपको आपका लक्ष्य मिलेगा। ये अरुण जी से सीखा, सुषमा जी से सीखा। निर्मला सीतारमण जी ने, क्योंकि एक लंबा अरसा मुझे उनके साथ काम करने का मिला, मुझे पीयूष गोयल जी के साथ भी काम करने का मौका मिला, मुझे स्मृति ईरानी जी के साथ भी काम करने का बहुत मौका मिला। इन सब लोगों ने ये सिखाया, दे आर द बेस्ट एग्जीक्यूटर्स। पॉलिसी मेकर्स पॉलिसी बना रहे हैं, वो पॉलिसी बेकार हो जाएगी अगर उसको सही तरीके से इन इट्स राइट बोथ इन लेटर एंड स्पिरिट। तो लेटर स्पिरिट में अगर पॉलिसी को अगर ठीक तरीके से एग्जीक्यूट किया, और ये अगर सीखना हो तो स्मृति जी से सीख सकते हैं, निर्मला सीतारमण जी से सीख सकते हैं, पीयूष गोयल जी से सीख सकते हैं।
The emergency changed the course of your life, as did that one visit when your father was in jail. Take me through that traumatic period.
See, that was the most dark period of my life. I have seen the worst days of my life during emergency. When my father was in jail, my uncle was in jail, and I was a kid. And my another uncle was heading the family. Circumstances forced me to support the family, and I was a student, I think of 9th class or 10th class. And during those 2 years, we have learned many lessons. How people change, how your own relative change, and the entire society change during your bad days. I pray to the Almighty कि वो दिन भगवान किसी को ना दिखाए। उस 2 साल ने हम सब लोगों को जो उस वक्त थे, हमें बहुत मैच्योर कर दिया। तो कभी भी अगर वो दिन याद आते हैं तो उनको याद करने से आत्मा कांपती है। बहुत खराब दिन थे वो, लेकिन बहुत सीखा उसके बाद मन मजबूत हो गया, परिस्थितियों से लड़ने की हिम्मत आ गई। जिन लोगों ने इमरजेंसी की पीड़ा को भुगता है, केवल वही लोग इस बात को बता सकते हैं।
I'm sorry to have touched a raw nerve, but on a lighter note, let me end this by asking you to finally help me meet the Praveen Khandelwal the world does not know, the man behind the trader politician when he is not at work.
मैं ये कह सकता हूँ कि मैं बहुत पारिवारिक सा व्यक्ति हूँ। मैं झूठ नहीं बोलता। मैं कल भी कार्यकर्ता था, मैं आज भी कार्यकर्ता हूँ, मैं कल भी कार्यकर्ता बने रहना चाहता हूँ। मैं जीवन में कहीं पहुँच जाऊँ, मैं उन लोगों को कभी नहीं भूलूंगा जिन लोगों ने मेरे लिए कुछ किया। उनका कर्जा है मेरे ऊपर, मैं ज़िंदगी में उनका कर्जा उतार नहीं पाऊँगा, लेकिन मैं अपने अच्छे काम करके, मैं अपने सच्चे काम करके ऐसे लोगों के कर्जे को कम करने की कोशिश ज़रूर करूँगा। ये मेरा वादा है।
Mr. Praveen Khandelwal, Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.